Recording in progress.
The meeting order. Right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate it. Can I get approval of the agenda, the consent agenda, and the minutes from August 7th, 2023 regular council meeting, please?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Heidi, would you mind taking that off the screen for us, please?
Thank you.
What happens when you sit on the end? Thank you very much. Okay, number 5, correspondence. There's a letter there from a national night out. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I have other stuff to read tonight. So anyway, and more than anything, just a thank you and for all the support. And I think that we all discussed that last meeting, and I think we're all in agreement that it was a great event. So it was nice to the letter. So, is there any additional correspondence?
No.
Okay. Items from the public. Is there anybody signed up? I'm listening.
We have Kai. Huh? No, I grabbed it.
Oh, you
I did. I grabbed it already. Sorry. It's Kai.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. And everybody got the levels. They explained very well. I connect with the open guys for that thing. And then if you have a question, I'm happy to answer for you or for that. Please, you have any question? So all done. Because the county basis we have with all the public department, but fences issue. Fences check the edit and the city, and that the contract there is 1 month behind. If we can complete the fences down the 2 or 3 months, I do not know. For now, I'm asking for maybe you can give me 90 days trial for fences in that time, but meanwhile I can submit the properly. But the ID is all functional, ready to go to the property. And also, if you have another one, look at the second page and third page. I've been in business for 15 years, and I have a business degree. Open door policy is the best policy. They communicate. If they block from the public, they take all the illegal activities. I don't have the judicial power. If my tenant do the illegal things, only I can see they create. But public sees something, then they behave better. So if you really want me to keep the fences, I really strongly recommend that it's take second or third page so we can mutually communicate. Customers see that, public see that, everybody is informed and cautious. My intention is not making money, I swear. If anybody do illegal activity, drug, I keep them out right away. My intention is good for the city. Hopefully, I deliver my heart.
So they understand. So you're asking us to go with them?
Oh, no. I built the fences, but all I'm asking council members open the ID. ID is functional, we can submit the public. But I have a three conditions that I have to build up the fence. I'm willing to do it, but give me 90 days trial. Now I will be put the edit and then I communicate that because all the construction is very behind. If I did the fences maybe down the November or October, too late for my duty. Now it's August. We come to the public and I will promise, I will do my best to build the fences as fast as I can, good quality as much as good. But now it's time to open the ID. If you wait in November, nobody can in. Then I suffer 6 months. Hold this project way more than my overhead. 3 years budget is 3 times. That bathroom is more than $4 million. I spend more than $600,000, more than $500,000. It's not just make a profit. It's commitment. I will swear to the public. I will do all my heart to build up the idea. They have many different struggles, but I give it my thought, but personalized. It's open dialogue.
So if I can maybe explain it so everybody on the council understands, because some council members were not here when this began. So what Kai is looking for is he has a conditional use permit, and part of that permit requirement is that he built a fence around the RV park prior to him getting a certificate of occupancy. So I believe what he's asking for, correct me if I'm wrong, is that he wants to be able to start his occupancy now and build the fence within 90 days. So that's what he's looking for. In other words, he's looking for the council to override the conditional use permit, allow him to start his occupancy, and then within 90 days, build the fence. So that's what he's looking for the council tonight. Go ahead, Tony.
Where are we looking at pictures of two different fences?
Were those your proposed type of fences that you were thinking of?
Yes, I think it's best proposal, because I've been searching many ideas, most of places. Pacific County is only mandatory for the fence, not Grace Harbor, not down the Oregon. But my observation, my experiences, most of the idea is open to the public. Once you're hiding from the public, the bad things going on. What architecture drawing was the fence with the cover of wood. Wood is bad, because I have fences, maintenance, winter, rain, all kinds of issues. But my best experience, my best proposition, two types of fence, either page 1 or page 2. So tenant has some sort of privacy, and the public has a confidence about what they're doing. Public open door policy is bad. If customer if tenant is hiding from the public, they're all kind of bad. And I don't have a judicial power. I'm not police officer.
Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it, but I thought the fences for to keep privacy to the tenants and also to keep the RV park contained from the view of drivers and passersby of the city.
It is partially safety. The county in their ordinance number 5, which that references. Actually, the gentleman that inspects for the county, he was like, "It's supposed to be a fence in their ordinance," but it's actually in their zoning. They require a screening fence as well, so they could either do wood or like chain link with slats. He said, but it's not actually in their ordinance. Built up by we included in ours.
But with what?
That doesn't. This one is not. Yeah, it's either else at all, not. You know that, that's right. That's it.
Well, probably the thing is that they give up to the city council. Because if city council, you don't need a fence, then I don't have to build up the fence. But I will obey you, I listen to you, I commit my precondition. It's all up to the here, not the county. I have a meeting with the mayor, even I talk to the director. Decision comes from here in the council meeting. So you make a decision and I will follow. But only I'm begging for open the idea, and I will do within 90 days. That's what I'm humbly asking for.
That's my opinion, but I appreciate your request. Additional use permit, additional use is really like, not what the requirements would be to open that property, and I don't feel comfortable with that. Conditional use permit says that the fence has to be built for this occupancy, then I just feel like we should stay in line with the permit that we gave you. I know it's unfortunate. Builders are behind, but that's also, unfortunately, wasn't taken care of. There's nothing that says that there's a ability to do something different. So personally, just for me as a council person, I just don't think we need to stay in line with our conditional use permit. So it was a special request that we created this opportunity. Secondly, I want to just point out that the fencing, I think, would be something that should the public from that space. And I understand, if it's closed, that there's potential for your internal guests to do something maybe not great, but the appearance of the RV park roadway was a concern for all of us. We were deciding one of our major city parks and where we throw a lot of our festivals. So having that exposed to me is not something that I think is in line with what you guys originally planned. So it just doesn't seem like us.
May I answer your question, sir? I set the condition and with the condition. That's fair. If condition is not yet serious, I didn't even start for this project. You know, now fence is after 90-day condition. So start with the conditional and with the condition. I think it's better now than in November or December. It did because it affects the city budget too. It's my employee and customer. Start with the condition and with the condition. That's my answer.
And I appreciate that. I think that the conditional use permit starts is already kind of a specialty thing. It's already a special request to the city. The city makes accommodation that they want to really do. And so that conditional use was a mentioned the RV park to be established. And the timelines that were established in that permit were thought out and obviously included in the code and included in the permits. They were really well thought out. And that would have been the time to maybe during that period of time would have been the time to bring up, well, what if we can't get the fence put up, or what if there's issues with the ways of construction? That could have been added in at that time. But I don't see, for me personally, and just bring up council, you still see it. But for us, I don't think that it's wise for us to adapt conditional use permits, because then if we do it for you, then we do it for everybody that's after you. And I just feel like we should probably stick to the permit of the issue. I think that's unfortunate. That's just, I think.
I don't want to against you. Thank you for your opinion. But my opinion is that not anybody built the IV in Raymond. In order to build the IV, you have a precondition. You have a capital, you have a man or all other things. It's not going to happen very frequently. You know, if you give one person the preconditional, you give next person preconditional, it's not going to happen. And I was in the council maybe 2 months ago. I pretend you did. Probably somebody saw the future.
Okay, Kai, I'd like to hear from the rest of the council, okay? Yes. Chris?
Yeah, I was kind of predicting this. We made it clear more than once as this EU project is going through that that was a key piece of giving you the permit. So you should have planned when, you know, it's unfortunate now you're 90 days away from the fence, but that's not our problem, that's your problem. You could have put the fence in 90 days ago or 3 months ago, you could have put it, but you didn't choose to. So now you are where you're at. You're 90 days away from the fence. I could see on the landscaping piece, because now isn't the best time to plant plants, I could see giving some timeline on the landscaping piece, because you want to plant landscaping when it's going to live. When we get rain, you can plant the landscaping. But the fence, I feel for your predicament, but it's kind of your own making. And I agree with Joe on, I think we went to a lot of heartache to do this. And my view is that it needs to be done.
Okay.
That's the agreement we have.
Okay, any additional comments from the council? Okay, Ian, I was coming to you next.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor. I don't know, and maybe Mayor or Eric, you know, I don't think there's a mechanism to change a conditional use permit. I think it's essentially a binding contract that both parties have agreed to, and there's no going back and tweaking it. So I don't know if, I guess, is there a way to make modifications?
I think when this came up a few months ago, I believe Joel said that there is no changing of it. Like, I think maybe you could redo the process because it went to the public and there was public hearing. So I'm not 100% sure. I believe that to be true. We have to double check if.
I agree, Eric. I was looking for reassurance. I believe that's what we have been advised before, is there isn't any going back. Whether we wanted to, whether it's a fantastic idea or not. And so even thinking about the landscaping, we need to be really careful on any commitments to anything that's not written down and signed. That's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Ian. So I just want to make it really clear, so there's no, no confusion here, but I would like a motion from the council that we maintain the conditional use permit as it was originally written.
So,
Second, okay, all those in favor?
I
Opposed? Motion carried. So I'm sorry, Kai, but the conditional use permit will remain as written. So I'm sorry. Okay, so in your packet, item number 7 is the budget calendar. It's just for your information, so you have a general idea of what's going on, what you kind of can expect for the budget season. Nothing here. Oh, sorry. I was just like, go on. It's actually her budget calendar, not mine. Old habits die hard. I'm sorry. Oops.
These are just tentative dates. And if things get done sooner, then we can get it out sooner. But these are just dates. I kind of basically just went off of our calendar last year, moved it up a day because the days change. So just to give us enough time, I do have tentative dates for October 5th and October 12th. Last year, we didn't need 2 budget dates. We went through it well, not quickly, but we went through it in one meeting. I think we could probably get through it quite a bit quicker this year since we know what to expect. So I did tentatively do the 12th as well, just in case, but or if those dates don't work, you guys could shoot me an email or propose another date. Those are just things I shot out from last year for that. I know it's hunting season and things like that for everybody, so just let me know. Other than that, I am working on some things behind the scenes to get that ready for you guys.
Hard to believe it's budget season already. So
And the budget committee is,
The council this year, it's council just like last year.
we'll do just
Everybody,
like we did last year. Everybody comes.
everybody will be here that can make it,
oh,
and we'll provide dinner.
It's a budget workshop.
Yeah, it's a
So
budget
it's not
workshop.
just with the budget.
oh,
The meeting
workshop.
itself, it's with all
Yeah.
of the.
We're gonna all work on it together, all provide our input.
Ian is having a little trouble hearing everyone, so just when you speak, make sure you speak up loud and clear, please.
So item number 8, we were asked to provide a proclamation for 2023 Hispanic Heritage Month, recognizing Hispanic Heritage Month. What's that say?
Mes de la Herencia Hispana, it just
Thank you.
means Heritage Month.
Okay, whereas each year the United States observes Hispanic Heritage Month to celebrate the Hispanic heritage, cultures, and contributions of those whose ancestries are
Indigenous.
thank you, to North America, as well as Spain, Mexico, and the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And whereas this year's theme, Building Prosperous and Healthy Communities, calls on us to ensure that all people participate and feel welcome to build prosperous communities and a healthy nation. And whereas Hispanics make significant and diverse contributions to the culture, education, economic and political vitality of the city of Raymond. And whereas Pacific County Immigration Support, PCIS, actively promote access to opportunity and a path to citizenship for a Hispanic community, and will hold a September 16th Hispanic Heritage Celebration in South Bend. And now therefore be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Raymond, Washington, that September 15th through October 15th, 2023 is the Hispanic Heritage Month in the City of Raymond, and encourages residents to participate in events that honor our unique and vibrant history as we recommit ourselves to a shared future of healthy, peaceful, safe, and sustainable communities for all. Introduced and adopted this 21st day of August 2020. Thank you. All right, item number 9, conditional use permit applications for an auxiliary dwelling unit or an ADU. So if you would like to take that, Eric, please.
So yeah, these are two very small dwellings. This one here is 20 by 30, 16 by 28, I believe. Like I said, our ADU ordinance is pretty slim. Really talks about just make sure you meet setbacks and some parking requirements. They do meet all those requirements. So if you have any questions, I would try to answer. I don't know what much more to that.
Is it a prefab building or?
Nope. Stick building. There's a bit of an issue with prefab buildings, like tiny homes per se, which are generally under 400 square feet anyhow. Because our code kind of, what do you call those? Do you call them like a manufactured home at that point? And we don't allow single wides and stuff like that. So at this point, if they're stick built, they can build basically anything. So it's kind of a nice part of that. These are nice little houses.
Any additional questions or comments, Ian? No. Okay. Oh,
Go ahead, Ian.
No, I was gonna make a motion, but Heidi, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure that it's in line with like all the new state regulations. Or do those have-
So those have not taken effect yet. They're actually gonna probably be a lot more ability to do this.
Okay.
They'll make it easier.
Okay.
If people were strict on that, like some places has to be a family member or
Yeah.
have to be certain size or so forth. Ours
So this
isn't
is,
a bad thing.
this will just put it right in with that and we're
Yep.
down the road, we're okay.
If they pass some new ADU stuff, then obviously we'd have to.
Yeah.
Well, we're pretty open at this point.
so Ian, you were gonna make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we approve. Do we need to do them separately? Sorry.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do this one first, the conditional use permit there, for the ADU. Yes, please.
Yeah, so I move that we accept the conditional use for the ADU.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. So I guess there was two in there, wasn't there? So for Larch Street, those are two separate ones, right?
No, I think it's only one.
Is this all one?
It's
all
all.
one.
Oh, okay. So it was all one, Ian, so thanks.
No problem.
Okay, and ordinance number 1927, an ordinance of the city of Raymond, Washington, repealing and adding to Title 14, water and sewer. It was discovered that the wording in the current code conflicted with the applications that the city currently uses for low income. So this removes a whole section out of both water and sewer, and then just adds in a single line, single bullet, D in one and F in the other, D in water, F in sewer, that just says that the requirements for discounting on your water and sewer will be determined by the office. Because that will change, can change based on the consumer price index. Is it consumer price index?
It's
No.
a federal poverty guideline.
That's federal poverty guidelines. So it doesn't, that should not be in our code. That should be something that is done internally. So that's what,
Just so I'm clear,
Uh-huh.
isn't it taking away like the ability to reduce it for
No.
low-income seniors?
it
As
actually,
if somebody were to look at the stats, what they would.
no.
probably see.
What it actually does is it improves the program.
Okay.
It was very restrictive before, which it was not restrictive in our code, but it was very restrictive on the application. And that's how we found out that they did not jive.
Okay.
So,
Just wanted to make sure to get all of that out so that everyone
Yes.
is aware.
yes, no, what it does is it's actually going to improve the program. So I just need a motion to move this to the second reading.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item number 11, the Island Lane Bridge abutment repair.
It's not.
Has never been. But
Oh,
so previously there was the 295, kind of like the planning. We had a plan and had to get some engineering and so forth, and it's deteriorated more, and so that is the increase, but it needs to be dealt with as soon as possible.
How much have you paid rent already?
Nothing, they're actually carrying probably 100 and some grand worth of engineering and geotech. Right now.
That's what we owe them now?
Yeah, because we signed the 300, or it's like 295.
I have issues with giving someone a almost $600,000 bid without any competitiveness. That's a lot of money to just say, we'll just hire you guys, you've been working on it so far. That's just my opinion. I've never done business that way. And to me personally, I just, if it is gonna be that much, then it needs to be rebid.
In general, yes, we would usually go out. There's probably limited people that would be capable of that, like Rob, probably. I don't think we have time to go out. Like they've been trying to legal part of it with Walt, and he was back. It's deteriorating.
it's down to
Every
one.
day it's deteriorating. Like it needs to be worse.
Like it should have been done 2 years
Well,
ago.
yeah, well, we're trying to better part, and then with all the other stuff.
Well, and it looks like the Nord geotechnical engineer, of course, came in. Sometimes
Yeah, they-
trying to show even more deterioration.
Yeah,
So even if we had fixed the $295,000 fix, there's no assurance that there wasn't
Yeah.
more underlying.
their kind of plan originally just wasn't going to work. As it's deteriorated.
Doesn't that give you some sort of apprehension about having them continue? If the original isn't gonna work?
Well, they didn't have, you'd have to sign an agreement for them to go out and want to pay for the engineers and the geotechnical information. So it's kind of like generally like the government thing, you'd have a planning grant per se.
Okay, but didn't you sign something for that already?
We did the 300.
Yeah.
But that was to get the ball rolling. So
We
they
didn't have the
wanted
other stuff,
information.
so.
I
So my question is the fix gonna work?
Yeah, they'll redo the entire abutment.
So they're gonna do a concrete abutment or something
Yeah.
like that?
Then, yeah, I think
So-
yeah,
Okay.
there's,
They're gonna
they have to remove the whole thing.
And are they gonna have access to the island when they do?
Probably there'll be some time where they're not gonna have, we'll have to talk to the people. There's not, I think the only people living out there, actually, the one lady that was in here. She's aware, she lives out there, but she's kind of back and forth. So
There's only
they're
one-
gonna try to keep it minimal.
There's only one place that's
I
occupied.
think there's two.
I don't know. To me, it's just really. It's a lot of money to just.
But
Well-
we're cleaning up someone else's mess, right?
Well, that's the whole, then it'll go to litigation to recoup.
It's 100%.
But we're on the hook for it, and
Well,
I
It's not
mean-
gonna get any better. It's only gonna
It's
get
get
more
worse.
expensive. And it has to be done because the people that live over there have to have access. So
Well,
we,
and we could run into problems, you know, when we know about the problem and we don't do anything about it.
So- this is the first step and then we take it to the next step, which then will involve Walt. So I'm not gonna get into those details, but I think he pretty much understood what that looked like at the last meeting.
And if we had time, it's deteriorating. monthly.
Are we gonna redo both sides or one side?
The other side's fine if you look like it's the rail bed. This one's twisting.
So, we have any fingers crossed that we won't have to do the other side too, or?
Yeah, that one doesn't seem to have moved at all. Like I said,
I
that
think
rail
the
bed
ground
there has the
is
whole,
different.
yeah.
They hit some solids.
So it's by where the railroad tracks, you know, that ground hasn't moved in 100 years.
It's farther off the water as well.
Oh,
The other one is right on the edge.
okay.
This one is built on small.
Well, it's both the like hover, like that's even for the ecology thing. It's not actually built on the ground, the piling, but there.
Yeah, that's all we do. Yeah. Anything covers,
Yeah, 412 here too.
because things don't change around here at all.
Mhm.
It's concerning to me to spend $600,000 on something that. Yes, we may get reimbursed, yes, we may not, but. Always in the competitive bid market. I
For
just
sure.
doling out money because it's. An emergency fix is hard for me to do. That's my personal opinion.
I get it, but if we go through the competitive bid process, it will be, we wouldn't probably be ready till,
Well, you
it'd be Christmas or after Christmas,
Yeah.
and then by then, they could not have any access.
when you lose the weather as well.
So where's the money coming from currently that we're expending?
Your council wages,
Current expense?
no, not current.
They have that. That wouldn't even pay for one of the screws.
So find it, man.
We have some emergency street money, and we're just gonna have to look and see. There's money there, I
You
mean,
can
we'll
sell a
make it
couple
work.
cop cars and a couple ambulances.
Yeah.
So there's no
Well, we don't have,
insurance company involved,
Exactly. How much
not at
money
this
do you
point in
get?
time.
not at this point.
Appreciation.
Make a phone call tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. How do we spending $600,000 if we don't know where it's going?
Well, we have the money in the budget. I can't tell you sitting up here exactly where it's gonna come
I
from. We have the money, we can do it. But if you want me to send you an email tomorrow and tell you exactly which fund it's coming out of, I can do
Now,
that.
as
But
long as we've got the money.
I just can't tell you, right, sitting right here.
Several funds that have.
Yes, we have the funds to do it. Do I want to spend it that way? Not really.
That hampers for the next few years.
Put $50 down, $50 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so do I hear a motion to sign the bridge abutment repair?
Second,
All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. I don't like it any better than you guys do. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd much rather spend that kind of money on.
but it just bugs me because it impacts every citizen in Raymond.
I know.
And it's for somebody
Or how-
else's, to clean up somebody else's mess.
That's right.
And it's just, I mean, maybe we fix my son, but all of our residents have to be impacted that.
Okay, so next would be to discuss the pool memorandum of understanding, with the understanding when I sent it out that this was a draft and for discussion only tonight. So it's a very rough draft. Joel wrote it based on the information I provided him. So he only did what he had to do with what I gave him. So, and Chris, you and I talked today, and I can't remember what you thought you'd like to see in number 6.
I'll just, two things I saw, but, and I know it's just the bones, but when we get down to the nitty gritty, the duties for the director, whoever that's gonna be, we're gonna have the director, the duties for him and the duties for the 501c3 need to be spelled out pretty detailed.
This
Who's accountable?
here, what you're looking at right here,
Yeah.
will be the duties of the pool, the
Yeah.
501c.
Yeah.
The director, whoever that is, will have a contract,
Yes,
and that will be spelled out in his contract. These are your two different things.
well,
This is the pool duties,
Yeah.
the director's duties
Okay.
are different.
all right,
So,
I separate the
yes,
two.
yes,
The director has to have a clear
absolutely, and you will
line of
see,
responsibilities, what
Yes.
he's supposed to do. 501C's gotta have a clear idea of what their accountabilities are. And so, and the two ought to know what each other's are.
and they most certainly will.
Okay.
So,
The other thing on there I would change is, and it's just a wording thing, but the capital expense issue, I would change that to major expense. Because capital expenditure has some different connotations to it. And if you just said any major expense, you could couch it with some dollar amount or something like that. But I would take the capital expense out, because capital expense to me means that the owner of the facility puts capital into its facility to upgrade its facility, right?
And I mean, you could put that in there. You could say, ongoing capital improvement projects that exceed $5,000.
Yeah, I would just leave capital out of there and just put major expense.
The hell our normal budget.
Capital is limiting.
But capital, that our budgets, we have stuff set aside that we have for capital improvement
I
projects.
understand that.
So this has got to fill it, this has got to be a part of the city's budget. We need capital projects for the pool, just like we have capital projects for the rest of the departments.
Well, okay, then here's my concern. If they're gonna participate in a capital project that is ours, our asset, the capital project is gonna be our upgrade, and we're asking them to participate in that capital project, then do they own half of that upgrade?
Well, did pool own half of that upgrade to the pool when it was totally redone in 2002?
I hope
Yeah.
they didn't.
So exactly. Did they think that they owned half of it? Because in
Well,
2002,
but
when they got all those grant funding
Yeah.
at the tune of what, almost $1 million? Because if that's the case, then why are we spending any money? Because they should own half of that. Which I assure you they do not.
Well,
So I think that just making it noted in here that any capital improvements to the pool, it's an understanding that any upgrades and improvements to the pool, or it could just say the pool belongs to the city of Raymond. Any improvements are improvements to the city pool.
I have a related
Yeah.
issue, also with that 50% match. So say the pool is looking at going out for a grant. Say they get a big one. For kicks, $1 million. Then, so they've got $1 million, we have to match that with $1 million. How are we going to be on that?
I would suggest they don't apply for that. And I don't know of any grants that would be that kind of match. Usually
Well, so it should be
maybe a 50% match, but my suggestion is that you know what the match is going to be before you apply, and you would ask the city, I'm going to apply for $1 million grant. The match is 50%. Can you provide $500,000?
Not actually what I meant, but here at number 6, it says the pool will pay half.
Right.
So say they had a very large upgrade, like building a new pool, building a new facility at some point in the future, and they've got this big grant to do so, but it covers part of it. And then they say, well, the city said that they would cover half. So it says here, city will pay.
Okay,
half.
everybody's hung up. I'm just trying to hold the pool's feet to the fire so that they don't let the pool deteriorate. That's what I'm trying to do. We can take the 50% out. I don't care. I'm not going to be here forever, and neither are all of you. But I'm going to tell you exactly that what is happening now will happen again if you don't have somebody or something put in place to hold the pool to the fire. So my suggestion is that you take out the 50%, say any capital improvements to the pool requires the city and the pool to agree what those are and how they will be funded before they're agreed upon.
Even like TIB, where we have a matching funds,
Yeah.
we have to bring that to council per se to make sure that we can expel the money. If it was a 0% match, probably not a big deal. We can generally bring it, but not the same because you're guaranteeing that you're going to spend the money. And even whatever they do, they still have to be in the budget, you know, and to give them a free rein,
Yeah.
they still need to.
You know,
You run those into the
Yeah.
before, and then this is our match, the amount that we have to match for this.
And I will
So
say
it
that,
would be the same thing for the pool.
I will say the RCO grants, that Tia and I are working on, the one, it's up to 1.2 million and there's no match. So most of those park grants are no match.
But,
Okay,
you know,
that begs the question, you get a $1.2 million grant. And you build yourself a new pool.
well, we're not gonna get that kind of money, but you
I know,
already
you see what I'm
said,
saying? Does that mean the pool
no.
owns it then? Because they got the $1.2 million grant.
The grant would be the city's name, generally, most likely.
But,
We own it.
but when you apply for those, you're gonna tell them in advance what you're applying for and what you're gonna use the money.
Right.
So they're not applying to build a new pool. They're applying to renovate what we have, so.
Okay, so, can I please? Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So a couple of big issues. Number one, even if it's mutual memorandum of understanding, it is a nonprofit contract. It should meet basic principles of contract. There is no mutual satisfaction. There's no mutual consideration. They get nothing. So there is no mutual. So you have your three factors. You have an agreement, two people willing to enter in the agreement. Both of them have to give something and receive something from the agreement. And then there has to be a term, end date. There's no end date. There is no mutual consideration. My big problem with this program that I keep looking at here, and I see this as a great outline, and it's a great place to start conversation. But this is not sufficient for an asset of the age and the requirements of maintenance for the document. This doesn't do it.
Well, and I made it
So-
clear when it went out that it was not, it
Right.
was a working document.
So my concerns, I have a couple of cornerstone concerns. The one that I keep asking, I have not yet heard anything. I reached out to Karen and asked also, when's the last time that building was actually inspected? When was the last time it was inspected, and what is the longevity of the building that is currently sitting?
Well,
By who? Structural engineer, pool engineer, someone with
we
this.
just had it done by
Well,
pool engineer.
One of the pool companies has been hard to get an actual company. So we actually have two, but the one came down,
Just last week.
Yeah.
They're gonna give us a price on everything, so. And it's selling it's gonna be cheaper than the other numbers we got. But the pool itself is sound. There could be some cracks in the actual pool, because the whole building itself is the pool. I mean, it's not really a structure. But those all can be repaired. That's not a big deal as far as, you know, there's no thunder like it's gonna fall apart.
But I think that what we have, it's been so neglected, so overlooked. And what we're finding is that information that we have been told over the years, that it's just like I whisper something to her and it goes to here and it goes to here and it gets bigger and bigger and changes, is sort of where we are right now. The pool engineer came down and said, first off, the information that you're going by is completely false. The pool is not nearly as big as you have been told it is. The heaters that you're trying to use are overkill. You do not need those big of heaters. Yeah, you know, you are working on outdated and false and contradictory information. So there's just so much of that. And Tia's finding it, Eric's finding it. People come down and they're just like, this is not a bad pool. It's just been poorly managed over the years. And there's things that need to be done. And these are the things we'll look at. And here are some of the things that I will provide back to you with costs.
So ultimately, the state that it's in is still a responsibility. Also, it's not ours.
Right.
That's our thing.
Right, and it's been thrown into someone else's lap for a
It
long
was
time.
asked to be given to them, and they took it, and the city agreed to it. And so now they've operated, they agreed to do it. They spent their money, put it together, the council put it together and brought it to the city, and city said, sure, you want to look at it, fine, you don't got any money from it. So I struggle with this because I think this is, to me, you can dress the pig up all you want, you can hope to speak to the fire to people that are bad actors, but unfortunately, the people that are the bad actors are stepping out of the way. So now you have a completely fresh pool. Secondly, if you have a fundraising physical sponsor, someone that you're gonna request to be a physical, a task's partnership as a physical sponsor, you do not limit the funds that they raise. So putting ourselves into doing anything about matching funds or doing of those things, we need to be really explicitly clear of what we're willing to match and how that process will look.
But I already said, I already taken that out.
Yes, you're already addressed number 6.
Okay, so even if
I
you
mean-
take this out, and their funds are theirs, right? So they.
The only thing that's not theirs is they have to contribute to the pool. They
Right,
have to contribute financially to the
Yes.
city of running the pool.
at 40,000, which wouldn't work, because after they lose having to pay for their own employment, after they lose having to pay for, the employment of it. They lose having to pay for insurance, it appears, they lose paying legal fees, they lose all their expenses because we're assuming the full operation of the pool. So their full break-in here from last year is 47 fundraising dollars that they did without a team of people that has it.
Again,
So to me, $40,000 isn't fair.
tell me what is.
75 at least.
Okay, that's what I said.
But also,
This is not written in stone. Send me emails, write it yourself and send it to me. That's what I'm saying. How many times have I have to say this? This was a starting document. There was not one to be had.
yeah,
This is a starting document. You don't like it? Rewrite it and send it to me and I'll put it in the package. I'll put it in the package
yeah.
and knock yourself out.
But I'm also not the city attorney, it's billed for it. So there's that.
And how do you know he billed us? And
Well,
furthermore,
you should.
he gets
Because
paid, he gets paid,
You're writing an agreement.
he gets
You're writing an
paid
agreement
whether
for
he
liability.
does anything or not.
Mayor, you're writing an agreement for a liability, giant liability on the city, that if someone becomes injured, if something catastrophic happens, we foot the bill for it. And
Have
I
you,
think that we can do a much better job as a team, and yes, you're right, I will write amendments, I will go ahead and take time and bring in those amendments. I'm also going to Oak Harbor, personally look at other similar organizations and how they operate their pool and maintenance, on my own dime. So I am going to go and do the research necessary to find some things. What I thought this was a discussion about this current agreement, and this current agreement needs a lot of work. And I don't think that we have to rush into making an agreement with the school people right now, because I think, in my
we're
opinion,
not
they're
doing
working.
anything.
Right, but we're also discussing this, so we need to make sure that we're clear in our discussion to it, and we need to understand that if we're gonna be the landlord again, if we're taking full property, then we need to act as the responsible landlord. And we need to be very explicit in the rules of how we're doing it, we have to put every little thing in here, so we never have to come back and have this conversation again. My goal is that hopefully by the end of September, we can get to the end of this conversation, get this full agreement going, but have one that is permanent, at least for 5 years. But at this current state and what we're trying to do here, it doesn't make very much sense. It doesn't.
Okay, and I'm
I'm
sorry that I put it in the packet, so we'll move on. Okay,
Something the mom was worried about, nothing for the nonprofit. Wouldn't us taking on the day-to-day and ongoing maintenance, the hiring of the lifeguards, all of that, taking that off their plate, that would be a benefit to them.
At $1 amount, what is the dollar amount and what are we agreeing to take off? What is our, we don't.
Why
have
why
to
did
get it.
it be,
Because it's a contract, explicitly you have to
but
state.
you can't,
these
you
everything.
cannot.
it is not a contract, it's a memorandum of understanding.
It's understanding our contracts with utilizing the nonprofit. We cannot be-
Please
that.
don't be
I'm not
disrespectful
being
to
disrespectful. I'm
Siobhan.
very direct.
Just don't be
I've done a
disrespectful.
lot of research on what an MOU is. I've worked for them many years. I've done many of them.
Okay,
can assure
I
you that
get the
there's
point the point is taken, Siobhan. Your point is taken. I will let other council members talk.
Can I just, one part, I'm gonna be done.
Okay.
With us taking and putting a director in place, I see less risk of the pool deteriorating and having the pool organization not do anything with our employee in place, because our employee in place is gonna be accountable for that asset, right?
And that
And
was my,
something
that is
going
my,
haywire
yes.
with the 501c over here, our director's gonna go, hey, people, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, we can't let this happen now.
that's my hope.
So that's why I think the separation of duties have to be spelled out pretty clear.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm done.
It's on operating councils. I think.
Heidi,
Much better.
anything?
I was just gonna say that, I'm not understanding of the complete dollar amount. I think that's crazy when you look at the fact that things change price wise, and that would have to be updated yearly. You can't have a 5-year contract if things change yearly. You know, we're gonna pay the lifeguards this much. Oops, well, you know, this law kicked in this week and now we have to pay them this much more. And that doesn't match up with the memorandum of understanding, so you can't put in.
They're not paying the money. We are.
I know, but you said that it has to be a dollar amount that we are reimbursed of taking away from them. Well, you can't account for that on a yearly basis if the pay of like the lifeguards keeps going up, or the pay of materials goes up or down.
Yes, we do plus or minus an inflation rate of 5 to 7% cost. You add it. You can do that. And secondly, the $14,000 in expenses, that's just, I guess this is just for their operation, correct? The 3 months is the 14,000 in expenses.
I think the big part of that was here's your, and it's all reimbursed then at the beginning.
Yeah,
And so that was about 10.
Yeah,
So generally the season, they're only spending about $5,000.
they are spending about 40 on, in their lifeguards. And then, yes, whatever else is on top of that.
Right. So that's my
Chemicals and the beauty.
So we're taking all that back. They're not getting it. So we're writing, we're taking care of all these things. They're not getting this, so they're not losing money. That's, we have to write it specific. I just think we have to be really clear that we do this really, really well, because the first one wasn't that great, this one isn't that great, and I want to make sure that we do this right, so we do it well for everybody involved. This is a huge.
I do have
Yes.
one thing that you said about the director was gonna be on contract. They're not gonna be on contract, though, they're gonna be an employee of the city, right?
Right, but they'll have a,
Okay,
so they'll have a job description.
Yes, and to me, that can be very specific, whereas
Absolutely.
contractually can be very vague, and
It'll be specific. You guys will be approving it.
that would be my only concern, is that it is a job description of exactly what we expect.
Right, and
Of that
you'll be
person.
approving it, because it'll be brand new.
Okay.
I mean, I think we could, and this is, you know, just an idea, but we could, we need an end date on it. We could put it out a year, say, well, we evaluate this yearly until what happens with Dallas Running. What happened with Dallas Running?
I wouldn't expect this MOU to be any longer than a year.
having 5 years out.
Wouldn't be
not
my
at this
recommendation.
stage. At this stage, having it 5 years out is, I think, a little
I wouldn't recommend it.
time.
Wait, do that.
So I think you have to
Tony?
evaluate your.
Oh, sorry, Heidi.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about item number 4, where it says that who will contribute $40,000 annually, including swim fees. Does that actually mean that they're going to give us the swim fees and $40,000 annually?
No, Joel just asked me if the 40,000, what would be included in that 40,000? He asked, would that include swim fees? And I said, yes. So in other words, he just wanted to make sure that it wouldn't be, they had to fundraise for the 40,000. So it would be 40,000, including the money they collect for swimming.
So the city is not going to be able to collect any fees for the swim.
They're gonna collect them. The pool is.
They're gonna collect them and give it to us.
So I said, I don't care how they come up with their 40,000. They will continue to collect their swim fees and their party fees and their entertainment fees, and however they come about their total 40,000. They
I
will.
have a real problem with that. I think if we're gonna be responsible for management and employees and stuff like that, that we ought to be collecting the swim fee.
Well, I don't have an employee that can go over there and sit all day and collect the swim fees. So,
Oh, well, I don't know how many employees we're going to have, and I don't know whose responsibilities are gonna. belong
That's up
who.
to,
All
that's
I'm
up to,
saying is
that's
that
up to pool and the director when the time comes.
I see this as a big, loss for the city.
Okay.
And it, you know, I mean, I would like to know how much it's going to cost us if we're not going to collect the fee.
It's always.
Oh, yeah, well, we have all kinds of.
I mean, seriously,
They're gonna collect the fees and they're gonna still
Service that we
submit
provide
it, they
to
still
the
pay the
city.
city,
How you gotta-
whether we collect it or they collect
Like we
it,
did.
just like they do today.
Are they gonna have someone there to collect fees?
Yes,
That's what.
They do.
the pool is not gonna be free.
That's what their job is. That's what their
That's.
agreement with the
Right.
city.
They're still gonna operate the pool. The pool, you still have to pay to use the pool.
They're gonna operate the pool, but we're gonna manage it.
No,
We're gonna manage the maintenance of it.
we're gonna, well, there'll be a director that will oversee.
They're going to hire the lifeguard?
No.
Hire the
We
lifeguard.
hire-
Which is a huge problem right now because the lifeguards are not happy. They had to go and pay their own $350 to get certified. They had to pay that themselves. And then come here and be the lifeguard for minimum wage.
And then ask you the question, offer tonight.
I'm not gonna go there tonight. So
Okay.
All right, well, I have a question.
that can be another discussion. Go ahead, Ian.
So I don't like the idea that we would enter an MOU to hold a community organization's feet to the fire. That is not a community building activity. If I were the pool board, I wouldn't get anywhere near this. It has no use to them. I don't know why they are going to be collecting the money if we're staffing everything. And so I don't know why they need to be involved as anything more than a fundraiser at all. Like, we don't have someone else collect ticket money at the theater. So I don't know why we would have a 501 organization collect ticket money at the pool. And then my biggest question on this, and I know we've said the 50% number is a draft and whatever, but there's going to be a number, let's say, on that line item. If there's maintenance that needs to be done and pool doesn't come up with the money, are we just not going to do it? Because that's what this MOU says.
Well, number 6 has been scratched.
Okay.
And it will just say any capital improvement projects have to be presented to the council for approval.
Well, I don't even know why we need that. We already approved the capital budget. I don't see why this needs to exist at all. I think that if we think about the way the theater has been run for a long time, and there are some community organizations that donate a lot, you could say Sunday Afternoon Live or a few others, they're not running anything. They're just giving money to the activity that they want to give it to. No strings attached, no holding anybody to the fire. If they're not able to get in money, they don't. But if they do, they give it to us. And I don't know why it needs to be more complicated than that.
And you mentioned about the swim fees. You have there'll be a director, and the director is the one that would be responsible. They had a whole plethora of volunteers back in the day when and the volunteers staffed the front counter and took in the swim fees. That's going to be the director's responsibility. He's going to be a city employee. He would be handling and overseeing that process.
And right now, the lifeguards take those fees, so it's our people that will be taking those fees. So I don't know why we need to get the money from pool if I do not think this is necessary in any way, and I don't think it benefits anybody.
Okay, duly noted. And right now, half the time there isn't anybody there to even collect a fee. Because
but right now it's operating under a different model, and we're not doing that model anymore.
Well, I was just making a comment. That was just some of the complaints that were brought to the the new pool board. I'm just telling you what the pool board has been receiving about the complaints of not anybody being there.
Okay.
So, I mean, the pool is going to be closing in 2 weeks. It's not like it's something that's going to be an urgent need. So I would just like to see something worked out before the pool opens next summer.
Situation. We need to have this in place.
No. So, any other additional comments or questions?
Just, I think the only way this is gonna work is for the city to take the responsibility entirely, including the fees and everything else, and ask the pool board if they would like to donate money to have it work. Because we can't put their fees to fire and insist that they give us $40,000 a year or whatever. We don't have any control over a 501c3. Even,
And
so
I-
why not just let them, tell them that we're gonna take care of it and you can do whatever you can to help us get it done. That's the reality.
So I didn't, and when I said hold their feet to the fire, maybe that's a poor analogy, but I'm just looking for a way for all of us to work together, make them feel responsible for what they have, make them feel more in line and in need, the need to continue to have a viable pool. I've looked at other models, other cities, the pool. There are other pools that the pool organizations, it's certainly not called pool, but there is other organizations that fund part of the pool's cost for these cities. And I'm telling you right now, these cities are little cities, much smaller than ours, and they're struggling, barely able to keep the pool they have open. And they're smaller than us. And the other ones that are about our same size or a little bit larger, their pools are covered with grass. They're closed, they're done. They can't fund them. So I'm just trying to figure out a way to keep our pool open. And if that means sitting up here and arguing with all of you, I will. But you know, but if you don't want it, if you don't think this is gonna work, or you don't want it, or we can't make it work, that's fine. But I'll continue to argue with you until I can see that I'm not making any headway with any of you, and then we'll disclose it. So I think asking pool to help is not unreasonable. But if all of you think it is unreasonable, we'll see if the city can take on the full cost of that pool. I guarantee you we cannot. But we will certainly give it a try for 1 year. And then I assure you in 2025, the pool will close because we will no longer have the ability to fund it. So there, I've said it, and there it goes. We can continue to hash this out until 8 if you'd like, but we have other things on the agenda. So,
So,
yes,
so, we were looking at City Twit, which has a pool.
Yeah.
It's a roughly Raymond size. On their budget, they budget $80-some thousand a year for their pool. If we bring in with pool fees, as we saw last year was brought in with pool fees, approximately 40. That leaves the city on the hook for 40. After the fees have been. So if the pool organization could fundraise part of that, then that could help us defray some of the costs to our taxpayers, which I know that none of us really want to take on more things that cost our taxpayers more money. We have other things spending the city's money on, that we like many things. So, so maybe, you know, asking them to help contribute by fundraising, whether it's grants, whether it's fundraising, maybe that can help to pay the $40,000, if that's our estimate. We don't know exactly how much it would be. On top of what the fees of the pool already brings in. That's my 2 cents. It doesn't seem like it's unreasonable. It seems like the pool board has a lot of energy right now. They are really on board with helping. Whether that will be true in 10 years, 5 years, you know, 2 nonprofit boards do turn over. We all know this, which is why I think it's smart for the city to take it over. If we as a community and as a city, it's important to have a pool for children to learn how to swim and for exercise for adults, for the whole community's use. Which I think a lot of our community has stepped up and said, this is what we want. We want a pool to function. We want to have a pool. How can we fix this? How can we, and we saw at the pool board meeting, it was full. We have a lot of people who want to see this work. So I think it's not unreasonable. That's my.
thank you.
I want to make an agreement with them that makes it last. That's all I really want to make, is that we make a good, strong agreement that lasts. The city knows what it's doing, that they know what they're doing, that they're invited to the thing that they're doing. It's important that we fundraise. That's what their soul is, and I know there's a way that we can work out that. I just think we can do it at our best.
Ian, did you have something? I thought I heard something over Zoom.
Yeah, you know, this idea of the pool's going to close by 2025 and we have no way to raise money. You brought to us a comprehensive plan and asked us to pass it, and we did. And in that comprehensive plan, it says that we will pursue a North Pacific County recreation taxing district, and that is a perfect match for getting a pool funded. So you have the tool you need, and you really, really, really wanted us to pass it, and we did. So you can go ahead and do that, and we will support you.
And I absolutely, it is been discussed. It's not an easy project, but it has been discussed. There is a couple of other cities that are small cities that are doing the exact same thing. It's not something that's going to happen right away, though. It's probably at least 2 years out, but it's something we've discussed.
But it's something you got to start.
I get that. I've got other things that I'm working on right now, but there are other people at the city and we are discussing where you would even start. So if any of the counselors want to step up and help, we'll definitely take that on. We'd definitely help, appreciate the help.
Well, you said it was 2 years out. So
Well, I said it potentially, God, don't everybody takes my word as gospel. God.
is that it's a length of time now, and we need to make sure that the pool is still running in that length of time for that recreational group to come into.
It is always something that has been, this isn't the first time it's been discussed. I mean, it's been discussed for years and years because.
Voted on in the past.
So.
We need to come up with a plan, and I think that's what we're trying, what the mayor is trying to do, is to keep the pool running until at least that time, when we can defray some of that cost.
And go into a garbage, get all the information and bring it back.
I already know that most of it's already online with the two cities that are there. One is at the beginning and one is further into the process. Both of them Tia has been talking to. Both of them have said that this, because we have 3 schools in a 6-mile radius and we have the tribe close by, would probably be one of the easier recreational districts.
The tribe will get this money.
Everybody says that. It doesn't, it's not that easy.
They paid me to send a school bus down there to pick up 4 kids.
Yeah, everybody says that. Oh, they'll give you money. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
If you
Not
can
that
get
easy.
a couple of their kids involved here, they will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any additional discussion on the pool? Okay, moving on. Department head reports. Fire Chief Bill Gideon.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mhm.
So I'll make this quick. Right now, there's a total burn ban in the county, as we continue to see very dry weather and significant fires throughout the state. So, on Wednesday, our one and only Captain Nick Patrick departs to Nebraska for his journey to become a paramedic, and we are very excited about that. He finished his last shift before he departs. I want to stress again to the council and to the community as a whole how important this is for our system. I think this, the fact that we struggle so hard to attract paramedics, as it's industry wide, but we've seen it. We've run an ad since the last 5 months, and we finally had to push the test back. They were hoping to have this month due to lack of applicants. So. And our system is surviving, thanks to some very dedicated people over there who were awesome. But this, as a whole, this program, I feel is going to continue that and improve our service. So we're thinking good things for Nick, and it's a big step for him as a member of our team, but we're looking for great things. I got a date of September 13th for the arrival of our second ambulance, so that's very exciting. So there is good news on the horizon, and that's where I'm at, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Did I see the new fire truck?
I wish. Only in my dreams. Yeah, January. So about the time Captain Patrick gets back, it's hopefully going to be arriving.
Well, it
So
was a great looking fire.
I'm excited about it.
That's somebody else.
Yeah.
How long did you say he's gonna be there?
He'll be in Nebraska till roughly the end of the year. So
Is it like a 12-week program? Is that big?
it is, that'll also, work into some hospital clinical time. And, also he has to do an internship, which he has to, go out, with an actual agency and fulfill some requirements. But compared to other schools, we chose Nebraska because of the quick turnaround. So we're hoping for good things there.
Okay, any additional questions or comments for Fire Chief Gideon? Police Chief Matlock is not in tonight. He had a prior commitment he couldn't get out of. Public Works Director Eric Weber.
Just a couple things, our chlorination project delayed a bit, there's something wrong with the tank. Inside the filler, so it's gonna set us back up a month or two. So we were hoping to get that done. Bill and I have been working to get the Willow Center all occupancy and getting that taken care of, so they're getting really close, so that should be going pretty soon. And paving, we don't have a date yet, but that should start pretty soon as well, so we're excited about that. We're gonna do Fowler and Gerber, Harvard, like Casey's Pond all the way to the highway again, and then Fowler from the highway to city limits. So, excited about that.
So any additional questions or comments for Eric? Okay, for Treasurer Kayla McIntosh.
I'm happy to be back. I'm currently working part-time, but Monday through Wednesday, to finish out my leave so that I didn't leave everybody by shorthanded. The staff, my office staff is working really hard to help take on all these additional projects with the pool and the parks and things like that, doing a lot of research and on top of their daily duties. So I appreciate that. I have started on the budgets, got my budget calls out to all the department heads, and I'm hoping to get working on those soon. I feel like a little bit better about it this year. I know, I don't want to say I know what I'm doing, but I have an idea, I think, this year compared to what I did last year. So I'm hoping to be a smooth budget season. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Okay, Mayor's report. I finally was able to get in touch with somebody at the city of Aberdeen, and this is in regards to the people that were here from Timberland Village last meeting. And the information that the citizens or the people that live at Timberland Village is a little bit different than as I suspected it would be. But I do have the ordinance. They worked very closely, the city of Aberdeen worked very closely with the owner of the RV park or the trailer park, and their city attorney to come up with this ordinance. And it is specific to trailer parks, only to trailer parks. And what it says is that they have to provide a minimum of 120 days written notice if they're going to increase the rent more than 3%. It is not limiting them how much they can increase it, only that they provide them written notice within of 120 days if they're going to increase it more than 3%. And it also requires that they give them, let's see, I think that was the rental increase notice. They took on some other, some late fee issues and some accommodation requests and stuff that, but pretty much everything in here is it says very specific. This is not anything to do with the city of Aberdeen. This is specific to rental, our landlord tenant issues. It's just basically a documentation in this ordinance. So, I guess my question to the council is this something that you would like to see us pursue for the city of Raymond for that RV or that trailer park?
It would just be specific to.
Well, it would be specific to trailer parks,
Just-
not that only not only that trailer park, but any other trailer parks within the city of Raymond. I don't know if there is any other ones.
Is there any evidence that they 3% is that if it's raised more than 3% or something? And I know
Right, they had to provide the tenants with with a written notice, 120 days in advance, if the rent was going to be increased more than 3%.
But we're not a rent controlled state, so we can charge anybody can charge anything. It's not
So
a rent
it-
controlled
You
state.
know, and I was almost positive that because they were saying, oh, they can only raise it 3 to 5%, and no. It's all it really is asking them to provide more notice. So,
So they really don't.
I mean, we can do it, but and I have, I would meet with the owner, which they seem to think it's the same owner that is in Aberdeen. I haven't confirmed that yet. And I would meet with him and make sure that he was, he must have been agreeable with the Aberdeen if it's the same people. But, I don't have a problem doing it if that's something that council wants to see. Again, all it really is doing is asking that they provide more notice to their tenants. It's not really controlling or stopping anything.
I think that that's the very least. I mean, it's the only thing that we can do, but I think we're further than the city is forgetting that. So, if nothing else, at least.
So,
We give them, at least we can give them 120 days notice.
If you do that, though, we're gonna be doing for apartments and housing.
So if you said it's a trailer.
Well, this one is, but then the next people want, Timberland's not happy with I'm not,
Yeah.
just curious, and like, I think there's like state laws that kind of govern all this stuff already.
I think it's because of the specific to the trailer park. Trailer parks are. So maybe the ordinance would be helpful, but I don't know if it's advice use of the cities. I don't know. Yeah, but I just don't know that we'd be able, it's not gonna address the concern we have. It's not gonna do anything.
and I don't know that we have there's no recourse. I mean, if they don't do it, I don't believe there's any recourse. So.
Right.
Are there any state laws as to notice that has to be given before rent increases and how much rent can increase without a notice or?
It's a landlord tenant issue, and those are all their laws. You'd have to look them up and see what they are.
But Washington is not a rent controlled state, so they can raise the rent however much they want.
Unless you live in Seattle.
Certain, that's right.
Mhm.
Are rent controlled, but not.
Yes. That's good. Yeah, it's to keep that. So it's based on the cultural population, culture.
It's still rent control.
So really, if this was put in place, the landlord would still raise the rent as much as the landlord wanted, but they would have to give. What is it? 100 notice before doing that. So it would increase the notice.
Well, just as a general business practice, if the landlord's gonna raise the rent, I assume the minimum he'd give them is 30 days, right? And I mean, so you're talking about 60 more days of vacation.
Well, 30 days to 120 days. So it's like 1 month versus 6.
I think Joe Biden said, I think it's 60.
It's like 60 days of rent increases.
Yeah,
It's 180 days.
it's 120 days.
It's 100.
But I don't know,
It's 180 if they're moving.
Well, and I can tell you, there is a clause in here. They covered themselves because it basically says if there's anything in here that's unconstitutional, if it violates any state or federal law, then this holds no weight. So basically, they're just doing,
It's worthless.
it's just
I mean, it's-
basically, they were, yes, Tony.
If you're willing to take the time to sit down and talk to the owner of the park, I think it's a good idea because, and 30 days is typically normal, but
I guess it's 60 days.
yeah.
Jovan looked it up.
We're talking about people that their trailers are in the ground. They don't even have wheels. They're not going to, I mean, if they were actually thinking about moving it, that would be the more time that they would have, at that time to make that happen, would probably help a little bit, but that would be the only reason I could see doing it.
Makes
Well-
sense for a trailer, because they
Yeah.
take more time to move.
But then again, most of them, they have to go to their park anyhow, because almost everywhere has ordinance against anything. So, you know, depending on the case, maybe not everywhere, but like around here, the county, then I think Raymond, I think even after being. So maybe it's not as easy for them just to move their manufacturing. And a huge expense. Because you have a company come down and permitting, and even with that, even moving them, you still have to get them permitted. So it's gonna take you more than 2 months for me to move them. You're instead of 4 months in reality.
If they wanted to move, that's, you're saying it's a.
It would be tougher than not just like you can hook on your RV and roll out of there.
Well, didn't the residents say that the people that did move out left the trailers? Didn't they say that?
A lot of times,
Because they couldn't afford to move them.
They just left the trip.
Well, they put them up for sale.
Yeah,
They own their own. They own the
There was
trailers.
one for sale a few months ago down there, and all they could get was like 40,000.
Yeah, which wasn't.
that's pretty good, unless it's like 7.
It's already succeeded.
So, I mean, it's up to the council as a whole. If you want me to look into it further, or I can just let them from Timberland Village know that, you know, it isn't as clear cut as they made it sound. So,
It's chatting.
okay.
Maybe reaching out to the guy that was in the scene.
Okay.
If there's anything.
See what his issues are.
Okay, I'll talk to her.
And I think maybe too, originally, I think they just bought that, didn't they? So maybe that's like, they fixed them and now they weren't gonna have these huge increases.
You know, and another thing that I was all prepared. I had all the numbers and everything because I was prepared because they are also very upset because they've never had to pay utilities. So the new owner now takes his utility bill, which runs between $2,000 and $3,000 a month, and he divides that utility bill by the total number of residents. So, but what did he, how many, 35? How many? You weren't here, and I wrote it down on my notes in the other room. But anyway, I don't believe it was that. It was, I think they're paying $60 a month now for utilities and they've never paid utilities before. That's $60 for water, sewer, and garbage, you know, and that's like hardly anything. So that's part of what's they're being their bonnet too. So I was prepared for that, and they didn't even bring that up. So I don't know. But I will talk to the owner and see what, you know, what his thoughts are. So, and see if it's the same owner that is in the Aberdeen one. So, I'll let you know. So and my last thing is, how would the council feel about having a retreat, a council retreat? It's not done on site, it's done off site. It would be an all-day retreat. Would give us an opportunity to formulate some goals, some planning. I've been accused of being a poor leader, not providing any leadership for the city. Not sure I agree with that accusation, but maybe by having a retreat and all of us being able to sit down, department heads and council, and coming up with some real serious goals and what we would like to see happen over, say, the next 3 years. I'll be gone next 2 years, potentially, as well as, you know, what is our mission for the city? Would that be something that the council would be interested in doing? And the reason I'm asking is because I just was part of a very amazing retreat. Was quite eye-opening. eye-opening for me. It was a day and a half and that would be too much. But I think the full day retreat would be, I think it would be a good thing for this council. I really do. So, Tony?
Will there be an itinerary?
No, I'm just gonna throw you in there and then
Well, I
we'll,
mean, I've seen those happen that way before.
No, there's an itinerary.
Well, then we have.
Yes.
no, yeah, there's gonna be what they call, what is that, the trust thing where we're gonna put.
Trust fall.
Yeah, trust fall, yeah,
Will there be food?
yeah.
We will feed you.
So, it's not some,
Security for that?
yeah.
We're not going to feed you though. You have to start.
So the one trust fall I seen on TikTok, I'll make this really quick, and they were all ready and they were standing behind him to catch him and they're all ready and he went. Thought that would be me. So anyway, I have a person that facilitated the retreat that I was at in Leavenworth. I kept his card. I'm gonna reach out to him and see when the first part of 2024 he would be available. We'll find an offsite place to do it, whether it's a chamber, find a time at the chamber when it's available. But I think that I think we would all benefit from that, and maybe I can provide better leadership by doing that. Does that sound okay? And it would be a requirement that everybody attend. You can't not.
Or
We don't get food.
And that includes all the department heads as well. So if food's there, I know Bill will get it.
Chocolate cake.
Sweets. He has to have dessert. Dessert will be there for the bill.
All right, so
Well, can I throw my two bits?
you throw it in, baby.
I am not a fan.
I figured you'd be my naysayer
I've
because
been to more
How many?
retreats than you probably wanna think about.
Right.
Some good, some bad. It all depends on the facilitator
you feel like him.
and it depends on what it is, the group dynamic, what it is you want to accomplish. You know, you sit around, and stare at everybody for 6 hours and have a nice lunch and go home.
Won't be like that.
But I would take your recommendation. If you thought this guy was good enough for the gal, I would show up, but it's not one of my favorite activities.
And I appreciate that, Chris, and I understand that all your years at Weyerhaeuser. I did some of that a long time ago, but I think you would like him. He is very upbeat. He is humorous. He makes it fun. You do not sit, you engage and you, so, and you do not hold hands and sing Kumbaya.
Well, good, because that was one of my real fears.
Yes. So, all right. Goodness gracious. All right. Any public comment on the current agenda items? Hearing none, council comments.
I just wanted to throw a comment out there. I really appreciate it.
Great. Oh,
No, it's,
No sarcasm in that.
you're right. I just wanted to say I appreciate what the mayor's doing, trying to coordinate.
Oh, boy.
It's not just the thing with the other side. And they did it. Regardless of how strong I feel about some things, I just put it on record that I appreciate.
thanks.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, you know, as lively as our discussion got about the pool, personally, I like those. My wife doesn't like me to like those because my son and I do that all the time. We're all at each other all the time. She doesn't like the back and forth, but I think the council probably needs more of that. And in a very respectful way, make your opinion known. And, you know, but I like those because the more points of view you get on the table, the better off you're going to be going forward. That would be my suggestion for the retreat there.
I think it's necessary sometimes, and for the retreat, I mean, I've heard Several people say, we want a mission, we want goals. I mean, those are the reasons that out in the street. It seems like we could actually do that.
Yeah, I have a comment. Being retired and having a dog now, I walk around a lot in our parks. Our parks are atrocious. There's 3-year growth of weeds in most of the flower beds, and it's, why do we have a year-round employee to manage our parks? That's something that's really, since I've been walking and since I've been looking, the work's not getting done.
I think the work is getting done. I think it's just more work than one person can do.
I
I mean,
disagree.
I wouldn't, because I worked on John Stewart at BYU in college, and I can say for a fact that, there were, I mean, the crew that I worked on alone only took care of a quarter of our campus. And it was 15 college kids and 2 supervisors. So, I mean, we're talking about every single park in the city. I'm betting that the bare minimum that person can do is get all the grass from every week. Am I correct in that area? I mean, so if you're gonna want flower beds needed and things like that and more upkeep, we're gonna need to hire another person.
I'd like to offer something. There's currently a community program at the Chamber of Commerce with all of the CTA students gardening. That's the thing. We're having meetings starting. So we'll get back in session to start designating parks that want to beautify the city agreement and the city of South Bend. So
Awesome.
I think that sounds like something that I think I've noticed too. So I think there's some ways that we can help support our city in doing that. Students for it, so I'm super excited about it, but it is something that we are addressing just because there's 15 parks and one guy on a mower. It's a lot of parks.
Well, and a lot of the times previously, the street crew will go over and help, like, with doing new signs, like, we're trying to get those done, some more sidewalks for this year, hopefully the next few weeks. They've been super busy, so we haven't had as much time with the work crew to help them out there.
It sounds like years coming. I think everybody's going to get talk about the volunteers we have and ask city leaders to tell us what days that they can use the help, and you'll have some teams.
Well, in the past, the parks guys had 3 or 4 guys work with them. Did we not do that anymore?
We've had summer help for a while, and then right now.
That's what I meant, summer help.
One.
From March.
Usually.
Yeah, but we've had 2 or 3 in the past.
Years probably okay. But
Well, maybe
not since I've been here.
I mean, if it is what she says, and it's so big that we can't manage it, then we need to change how we're managing it, is what I'm saying, because personally, that is one of our nicest assets is our parks. There's a lot of people that use those parks from March until October, and they don't look great.
So are you saying that Eric should budget for another employee and a half, maybe? For the park?
I'm saying that something needs to be done.
So maybe you should think about putting that.
That's why I'm saying it to the council, it's because it isn't just that.
So I would say that in your budget talks, maybe
It's a concern.
add more people for parks. I mean, like I said, there's one person that all they're gonna be able to do is photographs. That's it.
Yeah. Or budget, summer helper or something.
Yeah.
But this year we weren't able to do a summer hire this year.
But we are working with still to get the dugouts done. Hopefully this year we'll school starts back up. We're just trying to get that coordinated, get that done, and the crew was gonna start pouring more sidewalk. Start repairing, tearing them out, repairing them. So that as we do that, we fill some of those spots and get them, reseeded and do some work on there.
Specific areas, sort of that volunteers use.
Yeah. Okay.
Any additional council comments? Okay, I'm gonna go back to Mayor's comments just very quickly. I meant to address this tonight. It'll be very quick. There has been some internal discussion about outsourcing our garbage services. Our garbage services, there's some pros and cons to it. I want to make it really clear right here, right now, for the record. That does not mean an elimination of an employee. Absolutely not.
It's because the city would require it to be eliminated, specific employees.
But there's a lot of good things about it. They offer services we can't provide. They offer a variety of services we can't provide, and they offer recycling, which I know a lot of citizens would like to take advantage of. They will be providing us with a proposal as to what that will look like. I asked AWC how many cities still provide their own garbage service. We are one of 5 left of 281 cities that still provide garbage. So anyway, one of Eric's biggest concerns was we would lose money. So LeMay's has to pay a business or a franchise fee, and they have to pay B&O. So I looked at a rough, with the help of Roger, who is the director overseeing this district, what they would bring in B&O and franchise fees would cover the cost of the employee, so that we would keep. So technically,
Yeah.
and that is quite.
Well, definitely helps out.
Yeah.
Especially summertime and through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just want, so when that information comes and it shows up on the agenda, I want to just make it so clear that this is not an employee elimination at all. So, and it may be something when it comes right down to it that we decide as a city, we don't want it, but I want us to look long and hard at what they can provide. So anyway, sorry, back. Future agenda items, topics, anything? Okay. If there's no objections, I'll call this meeting adjourned.
Awesome.
Recording stopped.
Steve, I see you every morning. I don't think you walk happy. I think happy walks you.
There's no question.